right, I want to jump on here and I want to do a quick recap of today's opening statements in the Letecia Stauch case. Now, the defense, they did come forth this morning and they said that they want a bench trial and waive a jury after the judge had already sworn in the jury. The judge did deny that request. He had determined that a fair and impartial jury was found today. So let's start with the defense and what was said during their opening statement. So the defense, they said how Letecia was not only mentally and physically abused, but also molested at a young age into her teen years by her mother's boyfriends and husbands. The defense states that Letecia has dealt with trauma since she horrifically from these men. She watched her mother get physically and mentally abused. Letecia eventually got this abuse. At first, it was physically and mental abuse, and then it became sexual. Letecia was molested regularly from 6 years old until she was a teenager. This occurred constantly, said the defense. Letecia would have to go out in the driveway and sleep in her car to get away from these men. Letecia's mother was absent a lot of the times when Letecia was growing up. Since her mom wasn't around a lot, Letecia was cared for by these men. These men took advantage of Letecia. She was constantly physically, sexually, and mentally abused. And to deal with the abuse, Letecia, her survival mechanism kicked in. As a matter of survival, she had to hate and love, to fear and placate her abuser, her caretaker. And that's where the fragment personality comes in, said the defense. Letecia's abuser was also the person that provided her means of survival at the age of 6, 7 years old. Due to the circumstances, that is where the personality disorder comes into play. Defense is stressing to the jury they must believe the DID is a believable defense and that it is a valid defect of the mind under the law. The defense states there is no motive, there is no reason, it doesn't make sense. It's insane, is what the defense said. Defense states there was some major psychotic crack in Letecia that went on during the time of the incident. He calls Letecia, he said she was a loving teacher, a loving stepmom, and a loving mother. Defense said that there is no explanation. Quote, I don't have one. She broke on that day, broke from all that is right, and the act of putting Gannon's body in a suitcase and traveling and throwing the suitcase over an overpass, and the different stories that she told, raped by somebody, kidnapped Gannon, etc., were all signs and evidence of a mind, a soul that is broken in the most fundamental way. So broken that it doesn't even know what it was doing, unquote. The defense stated what was going through all the stab wounds, the bruising, beatings, burns, what was going through that person's head, I don't know. I don't know, the defense said. The person she was killing that day was not Gannon to her. She was killing the demons from the dark depths of her childhood, from her life. The defense said letting sympathy come in isn't going to bring Gannon back. Judging the case by the media will do no good. Just listen to the evidence that is presented. The defense, they stressed that the evidence, and they stated if the verdict was given right now, it would be not guilty, reminding the jurors that Letecia is presumed innocent. Now, let's go to what the prosecution says. In their opening statement, prosecution, they went through Gannon's wounds. They stated how the instrument that Letecia stabbed Gannon with was never located. Letecia's clothing from that day was never found. Her shoes were found on the washing machine. A particle board was found with Gannon's blood on it. recording was played in the courtroom, and you can hear Gannon worrying about the burns that he had at the end of that video. You can tell little Gannon was worried about his burns, and he obviously was in pain. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that video, but if not, go back and listen, and you'll hear little Gannon. But Letecia's brother and daughter will both testify to Letecia's state of mind at that time. Prosecution spoke about how Letecia wanted to blame everyone, even Gannon's mom, Landon. Letecia was the last person to see Gannon. Al was in Oklahoma for National Guard training when the incident happened. Letecia tried to manipulate law enforcement at the time of the investigation. Gannon's bedroom, that's where Gannon's life was taken. Gannon suffered 18 stab wounds. Chest, back, head, arms, hands all had defensive wounds. Gannon fought for his life. Then came a blow to his head, and that cracked Gannon's skull. Gannon was fired at 3 times. 2 bullets struck a pillow. The third one went through Gannon's jaw. The bullet was recovered during the autopsy. No bullet casings were ever found. Letecia took deliberate actions to hide the crime. She collected Gannon's blanket and the pillow, and she shoved it into that suitcase. Amazon box was found in the storage room, and that had Gannon's blood on it. Letecia, she scrubbed the walls and the carpet. Scrub brushes were later found in the dishwasher. Letecia knew what she was doing. Scrub brushes had carpet fibers, blood, and Gannon's DNA on them. Gannon's bedroom had no obvious signs of a struggle or blood because Letecia cleaned the bedroom up. Letecia's clothing likely contained blood, but was never found. Gannon's blood and DNA were found on her shoes. This shows how much blood she was walking through. No shell casings were found. She first hid Gannon's body in a suitcase in her car, and then she later transferred the suitcase to a rental van. Tracking of Letecia's vehicle led to a board that was under a tree, and that board had Gannon's blood on it. And it was only miles away from their house. The board came from the family garage. Letecia took the act of throwing the suitcase, which had Gannon's body in it, over an overpass in Florida, which was 1,300 miles from their house, from where Gannon's life was taken. The suitcase with Gannon's remains was found by a worker checking the bridge for safety. There were 2 blankets and a pillow in the suitcase. Letecia had sent a photo to Al of Gannon in bed with those same blankets that were found in that suitcase. Prosecution states all of Letecia's deliberate actions prove that she was sane at that time. Prosecution states the evidence will prove Letecia's sanity. Letecia was the last person, again, to see Gannon alive, as she told the 911 operator when she called to report Gannon missing.